Imagine this. You're sitting in your peaceful lake cabin, sipping coffee with one of the most powerful officials in the state, the Attorney General himself. Suddenly, your door bursts open, and in storms Karen, the nightmare neighbor from your HOA, screaming about community rules and illegal meetings. She has no idea who's inside, and no clue that her intrusion is about to blow up in her face in front of the highest legal authority in the state. This isn't just HOA drama anymore. This is a fight Karen will never recover from. I never wanted much when I moved to Lake Serenity. After years of working long, grueling hours in federal service, I wanted quiet, nature, and the kind of mornings where you wake up to the sound of loons on the water. My lake cabin wasn't anything extravagant: wooden beams, a porch facing the water, and a little dock where my daughter loved to fish. What I didn't realize when I bought the place was that the neighborhood HOA wasn't your average group of folks mowing lawns and reminding people to keep mailboxes painted. No, this HOA was the breeding ground for power-hungry tyrants, led by none other than Karen. Karen was the self-appointed Queen of Serenity Lake, strutting around like she owned the place. If a kayak was left on the beach for more than 5 minutes, Karen had a written citation on your doorstep. If your porch light bulb was the wrong color temperature, Karen was knocking at your door with threats of fines. She wasn't just annoying, she was aggressive. But me? I wasn't the average pushover neighbor. I'd done my time serving the country, and I had friends in places Karen didn't even know existed. That week, I had scheduled a private meeting with the state attorney general. Why? Because I'd uncovered layers of fraud and embezzlement happening right under the HOA's nose. Contractors were being paid with inflated invoices. Dues were mysteriously higher each quarter. Money that should have gone to trail maintenance was vanishing into consulting fees. And Karen, she was at the center of it all. So, on a chilly Thursday morning, the Attorney General himself drove up the long dirt path to my cabin. He wasn't here for fishing or coffee, though I offered both. He was here because we were building a case. We sat at my old oak table, files and folders stacked high. My laptop displayed financial spreadsheets cross-referenced with contractor agreements. The Attorney General leaned forward and tapping one page with his finger. He said, "This is enough to open a full investigation. If this checks out, your HOA president and her cronies could be looking at serious prison time." I nodded. "That's why I wanted you to see it firsthand. These aren't just greedy people. They're extorting families. Retirees are losing their savings to these so-called fees. It's criminal." He gave me a firm nod. "We'll act, but this needs to be airtight." Just as we were digging deeper, the front door slammed open so hard it rattled the cabin walls. "What is going on in here?" Karen shrieked. I looked up, stunned but not surprised. There she was in all her glory, pastel sweater draped over her shoulders, oversized sunglasses perched on her head despite being indoors, and her phone recording in hand. "This is private property," I snapped. "You can't just barge into my cabin." Karen ignored me. She jabbed her finger toward the table. "I knew you were hosting unauthorized meetings. This violates HOA bylaws. No large gatherings, no commercial activity, no—" She froze mid-rant. Her eyes locked on the Attorney General. For a moment, the room was dead silent except for the crackling of the fireplace. Karen's confident smirk faltered. "And who," she stammered, "are you supposed to be?" The Attorney General slowly stood, adjusting his jacket. His voice was calm, but carried the kind of authority that made even the boldest criminals sweat. "I'm the Attorney General of this state." Karen's jaw nearly hit the floor. But Karen, being Karen, she didn't back down. Her embarrassment only fueled her rage. "Well, I don't care if you're the President of the United States. This property is under HOA jurisdiction, and you cannot conduct whatever this is. It's against our community guidelines. And you," she pointed at me, her hand trembling with fury, "are in violation of at least 6 bylaws right now." The Attorney General raised an eyebrow. Do you realize you've just trespassed into a private residence uninvited while an official state meeting was in progress? Karen blinked, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Then she regained her footing. I don't answer to you. I answer to the board, and I'll have you both fined and removed if you don't leave immediately. The Attorney General turned to me, then back to her. His voice dropped lower. Ma'am, you have no idea what you've just walked into. He pulled out a small badge holder and flipped it open. Karen leaned forward, squinting, her face drained of color. That's not real, she whispered. Oh, it's real. And you just interrupted an ongoing state investigation. Karen's phone, which was still recording, slipped from her hand and clattered onto the hardwood floor. She stumbled backward toward the open door. You can't. I didn't. This isn't fair, she sputtered. I stood, moving between her and the exit. Not so fast, Karen. You wanted to play police. Well, guess what? You're about to get a real taste of the law. The Attorney General nodded to me. We'll need her on record. Karen's eyes went wide. Record? No, you can't. Just then, a black USV rolled up my driveway. 2 state investigators stepped out, suits crisp, badges visible. They entered the cabin without a word and positioned themselves behind Karen. Ma'am, you're coming with us. You're now part of an active fraud and embezzlement case. Karen shrieked, This is harassment. I am the HOA. You can't arrest me. The Attorney General shook his head. That's the problem. You thought you were above the law, but you're not. Not anymore. Karen was escorted out of my cabin, still screaming about bylaws and rules nobody cared about. Neighbors peeked from their porches as she was placed into the back of the USV. Over the next few months, the investigation unraveled the HOA's entire operation. Fraudulent kickbacks, illegal fines, fake maintenance charges, millions of dollars siphoned away from hardworking families. Karen wasn't just fined, she was indicted. Her cronies faced charges too. And as for me, I stayed in my cabin, fishing on the lake, sipping coffee, and watching peace finally return to Serenity Lake. The Attorney General kept his word. The HOA was dissolved, their accounts frozen, and restitution was ordered. Families got their money back. Justice was served.